Oh, snap. Emily. What a rare occasion.
Oh, really? Hi,
Good
Emily.
morning.
Yeah. All right, we're going to get started in 14 seconds.
So I can hear you and I see a frozen screen.
Yeah. Well, that's just you, babe. You'll see the main one in a sec.
There we go. This podcast contains adult themes and language. The views expressed here are our own opinions and experiences. We are not medical professionals.
In this podcast, we discuss our opinions about mental health, sobriety, addiction, and our pursuit of happiness and peace. This is Sober Mind.
Oh, yeah, everybody. Welcome. Happy Saturday.
That was very
Good
good. I
morning.
like that.
We changed it up. I showed Judy. She's like, why didn't we do that before? I'm like, I don't know. Yeah, so there you go.
Yeah, I
feel
like that intro. It's much better.
Very pro. I feel like going, all right, everybody, traffic and weather at top of the hour for hot and humid. Fucking humid as shit in the Midwest.
Dude.
Don't drive anywhere. You'll turn into water as you walk
I
outside.
have a 5-minute walk down here, and it was literally like I just took a blanket and just painted it on me.
I know.
Sweat.
I went on a 4-miler this morning. I was like, sweet baby Jesus. Even Ozzy was
Yeah,
like, I can't.
I think I'm still sweating from that run, and that was like, 45 minutes ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. Totally jealous. I've had a busy week. Haven't had a chance to do the self-care and everything as much as I've wanted to, and I'm ready to get, I'm taking next week off so I can catch back up and recenter myself. So looking forward to that.
That's good. That is important to do, especially in our line
Very,
of work.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Judith cut off 13 inches of her hair yesterday, and it's still long.
What?
Yeah, it's well, I mean,
Nice.
Yeah, she's like, hey, I'm going to get a haircut.
Just a single one?
like
Not likely.
it's just one. No, I every once in a while, I usually have long hair, and every once in a while I go and I cut it, and then I donate it to wigs for kids.
Yeah.
Because they don't charge for the wigs, and they use a lot of the hair.
Nice.
Although I think they'll have to pluck out all the gray ones out of mine, because no kid wants to wear gray hair.
No, it's very vogue to do that anymore. I've seen teenagers dye their hair gray. Yeah.
I know. Why? Just wait. It'll happen.
So there you go, babe. You donated your hair so wigs for kids. Some kid would be like, check out my gray do, homie.
You know what? Looking back, I wish I would have dyed my hair gray, because that would have given me a chance to have gray hair, and now it's just leaving me. So,
All right.
That's when it comes in your beard.
right?
Yes.
You know.
Okay. Happy freaking Saturday, everybody. We got a lot to discuss.
Woo-hoo.
We're going to continue on with our Stress is Killing You Part 2 from
Dr. Joe.
Dr. Joe Dispenza. He's pretty amazing. We got some cherry soda streaming in the background from Harris Heller Stream Beats. Remember? Copyright free music, free to use for you. Amazing stuff. Okay. I've had another really great week. I was talking to Judy yesterday. I stopped her on the stairs and I said, hey. That's what I do. I walk around randomly scaring Judy. She's like, oh shit, what's coming my way now? I was like, this is not a farce. I have been consistently on the same mood now for a month. It's really been a nice treat. I know that sounds crazy for people that don't understand that, but
You put in a lot of work.
I know. So I went on a run. I met Judy right at the end. It was kismet. Ozzy and I were walking down and we ran into her, and I said, I can't believe how strong that medication journey was. I'm now that my head is really clearing up, it's so hard for me to realize what I went through. It was a fucking pain in the ass. It really was. And I was trying to be so patient with it and make sure that we were doing all the bake-in periods with Effexor and Wellbutrin and Depakote. And then Judy said she's kind of disappointed that she got on the Cymbalta as well.
Yeah. Well, I just wish I would have waited it out a little longer, and done a lot more internal work on myself and on my thought process and all that kind of stuff before I threw that medication in there. Because
shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Yeah. And I think I was hoping for a different effect from the last time when I was in my 20s and I had to take it because I was a basket case. But yeah, I think I was just hoping for, a better effect of it, and it just didn't. I wish I would have waited longer before I went on it, because I don't think, if I would have waited longer, I don't think I would have gotten on it at all.
Well,
do you think, I guess I want to ask a question around, do you think taking it discredits it? I mean, did it put you in a state of being that helped you on your next step? It may not have been the solution, ultimately, but
the first time I took it, yes, it did, because it allowed me to process and move forward with whatever I was going through. And I think it might have done a little bit this time, but I think if I would have waited, I wouldn't have needed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Patrick, very fair question. So let me back up. Thanks for keeping me honest with that. So I want to be clear that I feel like I really needed that in the beginning. I've told people that, a month or two after my sobriety, shit really started to become unhinged, and I had a panic attack so bad I had to call 911. I had to get an ambulance to take me to the hospital. My face felt like it was melting. It was bad news. And then after that, I started having like borderline agoraphobia. Like I couldn't leave the house, man. I was an anxious, depressed, panicky mess. It was a shit show. So could I have waited maybe a month or two to see if my amygdala and cerebral cortex might have, regulated back down? I don't know, but I was so fucking scared that.
Yeah.
And then again with the SSRIs, SNRIs, when the doctors or psychiatrists give it to you, again, there's a $3,000 test you can take and it'll show you what your body responds well to and all that stuff. But our insurance, I don't know if it covered it, but there's a whole trial and error thing. So, get the medication, go through just wacky bake-in period, and then they make an adjustment, and they're just going off of what you say. How do you feel? Well, I'm feeling like this. And so,
yeah,
3 different medications later, I talked to Judy now, and it was like, when I got put on Prozac and Abilify at the same time, it's a pretty strong mood stabilizer. The Abilify is. And I shit you not, we look back on it now, and Judy's like, you don't remember playing this level on this video game? I'm like, no, that was a Prozac moment. I don't. She's like, we're doing really good. We did some credit card maintenance and everything like that, and I wholeheartedly told Judy, I'm like, some of these credit cards and these accounts, I really got us into this jam when I was on Prozac and Abilify. There's a side effect for Abilify that it says some people may succumb to compulsive gambling. I'm like, what kind of side effect is that?
That's intense.
Or weird spending and stuff like that. But it was just, I don't know what it was. I can't explain it. The shit was powerful till I got off of it. Anyway, so sorry to interrupt, babe. I wanted to finish my thought real quick, because Patrick's keeping us honest. Yes, I needed the medication in the beginning, but when you're trying to be a good steward of the process and get to a stage, I got to the point where I had, depressive episodes. That last one I had while I was on medication was so bad. I told Judy, when I did the admittance on here about the time I had suicidal ideation, I was this close to calling you. Sorry, I forgot to turn off my my alerts. People are pinging me. How rude during our show. That shows our friends are not watching the show.
Get with the program,
I know,
literally.
yeah. So I had a depressive episode so bad that I was laying in bed crying. I thought about calling you, but I was like, Patrick won't fucking know how to help me. Then I was like, okay, all joking aside, I just slept for like the day and cried, but I was gonna have Judy taking me to the ER. That's not right when you're on antidepressant medication. And one of the side effects is severe depression.
Right.
Well, I think you know what I know it works for a lot of people, and a lot of people really do need these medications. But I also think that there's certain people that only need these medications for a short amount of time to help them through whatever they're going through, and then they need to taper off of the medication.
Yeah.
Kind of like what I did.
So I think this is like a double-edged sword for me, and it speaks to the stigma of mental health. Because we don't talk about it a lot, our tools are limited, and pharmacological solutions have really, due to other driving forces, have pressed their way into common lives, right? Take this and you'll be fine type of aspect. But by not discussing mental health and the state of that, even the person with the best intentions going on a lot of things, because they're lifelines. They are meant to help us gain enough clarity or breathing space to get to that next step. Because we don't talk about mental health, a lot of the people or opportunities, at least in my experience with it, you just don't build that toolbox. You just take it's another stasis type of drug. You get it and you're like, all right, I have to learn to accept this as my new normal. In reality, it's giving you kind of an edge so you can continue to build your toolbox. And what I'm saying is a double-edged sword here is because we don't talk about mental health, we resort to drugs. And because we don't talk about mental health, there's not a lot of exit plans and understanding, because you guys talked about a lot of that gray area. Okay, I'm on it at first, but what's it look like coming off? When do I know that I'm confident in myself in it? Is it a taper thing or switch thing, or do I know, what, I keep on saying toolbox, but behaviors to cope with some of the just life in general.
Yes.
To help you get there.
So thank you for talking about it, Patrick. I know we've talked about it before in different formulas. And look, I want to be clear. If you go back on and watch some of the prior episodes, like around January, February, I did updates. Some of the highest viewed videos that we have is when I just sat here and talked about my medication adjustment. People really are curious about that, because you go into YouTube or Google and you type in the keywords and those come up. But I love the term that you used is exit strategy. That's a tough one. My primary care physician is amazing. But when I first started talking about this stuff, I was like, I heard that Zoloft is pretty good. He's like, sure. Wrote me a prescription. Then he's like, let me know how it works. I love him to death, but he even to me is like, they're not equipped to deal with this, because these pills, the response rates for 1 out of a million people, it's just what vastly. You and I could start on the same pill right now. We will have a vastly different experience. All three of us.
It's mind-boggling to me that there exist disciplines that prescribe and approach mood stabilizers and or different aspects of our life without looking at the other, right? What I'm trying to say is here's people that can alter our brain chemistry, but do they sit down in combination with you to talk about when you're angry, how do you process that, or what's your general, I guess I'm just coming from the aspect of again, really preaching modality and having a plethora of modalities for your
right.
Right.
Yeah.
Is important.
They don't give you a manual that comes along with that medication. here's the medication and here's everything you need to know about it and how you need to move forward with it. They just say, here's the medication. Let me know how you do.
Yeah, it's the witch doctor science part of medicine still, because the brain is so mystical. You know, you got an infection, they give you an antibiotic, they say, see me in a week. How do you feel? It's gone. I feel better. Good. Done. End of discussion. With the brain, it's, you know, you tell me. And then again, I love that the what you said about the exit plan. That's, you know, when I started talking to my psychiatrist, I'm like, I think this is no good anymore. I think I want to start weaning off. She's like, nah, too soon. I was really frustrated by that. And so that's when I threw a fit and I just fucking quit cold turkey everything. And that was
It's the worst thing to tell you no. All right, this is what I'm going to do now.
Yep.
Yep.
So, I know.
I'm the
like,
same
joke's
way.
on you. I didn't take it this morning already.
She probably knew you. She's playing 4D chess over here.
Yeah.
She's going to meet up with you in a year. So how'd you like my plan to get you off that?
Yes. Good. Maybe you're right. Maybe. Touche. Maybe that was, she's like, I'll show that son of a bitch.
Reverse psychology.
Yeah.
But I've been thinking about that too. You know, like I'm on just standard blood pressure meds for mine. And like I was thinking about it, I was sitting in front of the doc and he was great. Like I think last year he caught, like I was having issues with like my grip and some pain in another part of my body, and he found out I was like my posture, so he sent me to, you know, physical therapy. And I was like, oh, that's great, he really listened, you know, like got to it. It wasn't anything else like that, so I appreciated that approach. But I realized with the blood pressure med, it's like he's like, here, you know, maybe lose some weight and don't get stressed.
Yeah.
It's like
Godspeed.
all right. You know, it's like you know, the lose some weight part, you know, you can get, you know, it doesn't matter what state of mind you're in, you can apply and get results, right?
Right.
You know, like, all right, I know that's pretty straightforward. Calories in, calories out, or, you know, get some more exercise. I get it, you know, I know how to get there. But like going up to somebody and be like, hey, just lose the stress, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at that and I'm like, of course he would say that, but like that, how fucking opaque is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
Can you give me a little bit more on that, please?
right?
Yeah. The first time I talked to my PCP about it, like I said, hey, I need to, I was very uncomfortable. I'm like, I need to talk about, I think, some child abuse stuff and some Gulf War stuff. And he's like, he just like turned around and he's like, here's a therapist to go see. So I walked out of there feeling, I'm like, I needed help that day. It took shit at that time, pandemic stuff. It took like, what, babe, like 8 weeks to get a
that's
freaking
hard.
Oh, yeah.
appointment.
It's hard to ask, and by
Yeah.
the time you finally got to the point of asking, you know, it's you that urgency in
Yeah.
us was probably like overflowing at that point by the time you were able to ask,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then there's I think this bears conversation too. There's an administrative factor in all this too. When you go see your doctor, don't think he's at your, they have a time schedule they're on, and they're rotating you in and out. It is, you know, it took me a long time as I want to start talking about stuff. It's like, oh shit, I just realized I think I only have 30 minutes. My psychiatrist literally, what was it, 15-minute appointments, and that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So by the time it's like, well, I feel like this. Just go talk to your therapist about this. I'm just here to give you pill stuff.
I have a strong feeling, and this makes a lot of people uncomfortable, but I personally feel like healthcare should not be driven for profit. It is not a widget to be made
For sure.
more efficient or, you know, to squeeze every last drop out of, you know, because you have end effects like what you're talking about, rather than the overall goal to, you know, better patients. It's to see more patients, or, you know, to extract more money,
Yeah.
essentially out of
Yeah.
it. I mean,
Well, that goes back to the insurance companies too.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, so, I mean, that begins to show how complex, like, why don't we talk about mental health is, you know, embedded in our society and a lot of socioeconomical and political structures, it's designed not to. Like that's not something that is beneficial or to be, again, something to be made more efficient or, margins made on or anything like that.
You can't really categorize mental health because everybody's mental health issues are going to be different than everybody else's. So in that respect, how would you bill for that? I mean, how would you bill for mental when there's so many variations of
Right.
of that? It's not a sprained wrist. It's not, a cold. It's not, basic stuff that you can simplify and categorize. Mental health, you can't do that.
Yep, because it comes from, a whole portfolio of determining factors, ease of access to healthy food sources, stability in job areas, right?
Personal trauma.
Yep. So, I mean, it is like, you can go, we could sit here and just try to make a list of everything that affects it, right? That's the entire
And we still
fabric.
wouldn't be able to top it.
Right.
There's just no way.
Yeah, but in my opinion, do you know where the fulcrum swings to then for all of that good stuff that we're talking about? It's money.
Yeah.
How absurd is it that eating healthy and getting look, if you want a really good psychiatrist and a really good PCP, you get all these private versions of it, and you pay, thousands and thousands, if not millions of dollars,
Yep.
and you're completely set up.
Yep, accessibility to that things, the scary factor is growing up, your wellness of being in life in our country is more determined by the zip code that you're born into
Yeah.
rather than race or anything else, race, sex, anything else.
Yeah.
And it becomes in its zip code because that's tied to most likely economic standings of your parents and their accessibility to the services as well.
Yeah.
For a good example, there's I have family members in healthcare, and there's so many studies based upon the accessibility. They talk about food deserts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Being like a big one, and like how that just cascades out. Like if you don't have access to good food, you're more likely to have, comorbid, comorbidity with a lot of determining factors, like obesity and high stress and other items like that. And that cascades to like the children that they're taking care of. They're malnourished. They don't have the accessibility to those habits and everything like that. And it's, I'm not trying to make this a whole political debate, but I'm trying to, like Judy, like you were saying, I think this is just an entire fabric of being, of well-being is just like so tied to everything that we just do in life, period.
Yeah.
Yeah, I 100% agree, but yeah, man, this is, we're talking about it now. I think we're all guilty of then just living with it too, and not challenging the process, my doctor said this, my psychiatrist said this, this, and it bleeds into, got the food desert, then you have a mental health desert too.
Yeah.
And especially in a place where we work, I'm starting to go down the digression rabbit hole, but, Emily is joined this morning, and it reminded me that, dang, you step outside of the metro Kansas City area, and if you're a homosexual, you're the devil's child,
right?
You're in a whole different land around here. So that's another thing too. There's no equity for care across these states. I think, oh my God, I'm going to this. I talked to Judy about this. I said, this is kind of a disadvantage of living in a nation that has 50 fucking states in it.
Right.
It's so disparate where you go. It's like each one has its own identity. When you cross the border into Kansas, just a couple miles away, it's crazy different.
Right.
Kentucky, Arkansas.
Yeah.
Canada is a little bit different. I was talking to Dad about this. You know, they've got a handful of provinces up there, and I'm not talking about you Quebecois, crazy fuckers, but the rest of them.
So do you remember last week I was talking about that teeny little plant in the garden, and it's like the beauty of its existence, despite like everything else that, you know, it shouldn't be here. You know, this is why I really enjoy Be the Change You Want to See.
Yeah.
Because it's so frustrating. We're talking about forces that are like immensely bigger than us, you know, like I'm not going to be the one guy that stands up, you know, change the healthcare system, right? You know, but I think coming on here and talking about mental health and, you know, slowly, you know, educating or sharing my perspective and like, you know, doing what I can do to contribute to move that conversation is important, because that's all I can do. Like that tiny little plant of all the things going on, like I think that's kind of our gift, that we can like continue to bring awareness to that. Like, and it's also understanding that thing existed because of not just like I planted a seed and it's growing. Like, you have to realize there was a ton of other factors that allowed it to happen, right? So with people that with the, like a zero-sum game mentality, like I'll get mine before they get theirs, you know, or if somebody's getting theirs, that's taking away from mine. What I'm trying to say is like, you know, the people that exist in these fields, either like healthcare, that are there for the profit or whatever, like what I'm trying to say is like those things are not, they don't exist in the vacuum, right? You know, they affect whenever we like turn a blind eye to like, oh, we're just going to make quarterly figures and we're going to do this, you know, it's all right to like, you know, we're going to fire 4% of people just because we need to get there, like without fully understanding the impact that like impacts the entire fabric of our being. This is John Dunbar, the priest, no man is an island.
Yeah.
Type of concept, right?
Well,
it's not just the bottom line you affect when you know, have to cut back on that. Like you're cutting out not just the brain, you know, not causing a brain drain from your company, but you're also impacting the personal well-being and, you know, of so much more.
Yeah. Oh, there's a wild trickle down effect.
Yeah. So
well, I
think having that care for that little thing.
I think what we need to understand is that our thoughts, our words, our actions, they're all like that pebble that hits the water. They create that ripple effect, and that ripple effect, without us even knowing it, is affecting other people. It's affecting other things in our environment. So we just need to be a little more aware of what is going on outside of ourselves and what we are actually contributing and causing with our own words and thoughts and actions.
Man, that's how you start a mental health sobriety show. You just get deep into it from the get-go, man.
I mean, that's what makes me like, it took me a long time to get there, you know, greeting somebody with a smile, you know, not because I want to put on a fake smile or need validation in return from that person, but knowing that is a small item that I can contribute in a positive manner, despite all the other reasons for it to not be there.
Yeah.
Is like, you know, think about it, like personally, like, you know, golden rule, treat others how you want to be treated. Like think about, as shitty as an attitude, there are times in my life when I've like been you know, like, let's fucking burn it down, start over, fucking burn it all down, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you.
You're cool.
Not even like you're cool. It's just like, everything sucks. And then you're just like spreading shitty emotions everywhere. You're like, I want to, you know, the only thing that can bring me any sorts of like completeness is that you can commiserate with me. So fuck you and the horse you rode in on, join me.
Yeah.
And then somebody, for some reason, in the weirdest way, will reach through that fucking quagmire bullshit and show you a modicum of kindness.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, you know, that begins to foster into something else. And that it may have been like the smallest act,
Yeah.
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 right?
Also, we have to remember that the video that we're watching, our thoughts can also have an effect on ourselves, on our physical being, on what's happening inside of us. And of course, that's where happiness starts, is from the inside and not the outside. So to be aware of what you're thinking and what you're putting out also affects what's going on inside of yourself too. So I mean, you could damage yourself pretty severely just by thinking really crappy thoughts, because that's part of not being at ease. It's disease.
Yeah.
It's just that simple.
100%.
It's not an easy thing to do. You have to work at it. It takes a while to reprogram, but once you start doing that and you start reprogramming and you start training yourself to realize what you're thinking and being aware of what you're thinking and then trying to reprogram that, it takes a little while, but your brain will eventually kick in and go, oh, okay, this is how we're supposed to think. This is how we're supposed to act. All right, let's do this.
Yeah. Defragging the hard drive, man.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Rebuild that operating system.
I mean, we just got to take that same thought, with society and culture too, right?
Yeah.
It's not going to happen overnight. You're if it took you 40, 50 years to defrag your own brain, how do you think you're going to deal with just what, in the United States alone, 250, 300 million?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's going to take a hot minute.
Oh, I know. All I can do is lead and model the way and hope that everyone follows my perfection.
Hey, if we can change even one person,
who twists that saying? I love it.
if we can change or help even one person, that's it. We've done our job.
That's right. And we have.
Truly.
All right, let's switch gears for a bit. Let's continue on with Dr. Joe Dispenza. It starts off at a pretty good segment here, so let me pause our jams here and switch to the browser view. Just as a reminder, everybody, Judy is in this house. I'm gonna have to prove it to somebody one day. She's 30 seconds away in the Zen room.
Do you want me to run back there?
Next time.
Next time, okay.
All right, so we're going to continue on with this 13-minute series of Stress is Killing You. This is Why and What You Can Do by Dr. Joe Dispenza.
If you believe that your thoughts have something to do with your destiny, and you can't think greater than how you feel, or feelings have become the means of thinking, by very definition of emotions, you're thinking in the past. And for the most part, you're going to keep creating the same life. So then people grab their cell phone, they check their WhatsApp, they check their text, they check their emails, they check Facebook, they take a picture of their feet, they post it on Facebook, they tweet something, they do Instagram, they check the news, and now they feel really connected to everything that's known in their life. And then they go through a series of routine behaviors. They get out of bed on the same side, they go to the toilet, they get a cup of coffee, they take a shower, they get dressed, they drive to work the same way, they do the same things, they see the same people, they push the same emotional buttons, and that becomes the routine, and it becomes like a program. So now they've lost their free will to a program, and there's no unseen hand doing it to them. So when it comes time to change, the redundancy of that cycle becomes a subconscious program. Most people then wait for crisis or trauma or disease or diagnosis. They wait for loss, some tragedy to make up their mind to change. And my message is, why wait? And you can learn and change in a state of pain and suffering, or you can learn and change in a state of joy and inspiration. And I think right now, the cool thing is that people are waking up. The moment you start feeling abundant and worthy, you are generating wealth. The moment you're empowered and feel it, you're beginning to step towards your success. The moment you start feeling whole, your healing begins. And when you love yourself and you love all of life, you'll create an equal. And now you're causing an effect. And I think that's the difference between living as a victim in your world, saying, I am this way because of this person or that thing or this experience. They made me think and feel this way. When you switch that around, you become a creator of your world, and you start saying, my thinking and my feeling is changing an outcome in my life. And now that's a whole different game, and we start believing more that we're creators of reality. If you're not being defined by a vision of the future, then you're left with the old memories of the past, and you will be predictable in your life. If you can sit your body down and tell it to stay like an animal, stay right here. I'm going to feed you when we're done. You can get up and check your emails. You can do all your texts. But right now, you're going to sit there and obey me. When you do that properly, and you're not eating anything or smelling anything or tasting anything, you're not up experiencing and feeling anything, you would have to agree with me that you're being defined by a thought, right? So when the body wants to go back to its emotional past, and you become aware that your attention is on that emotion, and where you place your attention is where you place your energy, you're siphoning your energy out of the present moment into the past, and you become aware of that, and you settle your body back down in the present moment, because it's saying, well, it's 8 o'clock, you normally get upset because you're in traffic around this time, and here you are sitting, and we're used to feeling anger, and you're off schedule. Oh, it's 11 o'clock, and you usually check your emails and judge everybody. Well, the body's looking for that predictable chemical state. Every time you become aware that you're doing that and your body is craving those emotions and you settle it back down into the present moment, you're telling the body it's no longer the mind, that you're the mind, and now your will is getting greater than the program. And if you keep doing this over and over again, over and over again, over and over again, just like training a stallion or a dog, it's just going to say, I'm going to sit. And the moment that happens, when the body's no longer the mind, when it finally surrenders, there's a liberation of energy. We go from particle to wave, from matter to energy, and we free ourselves from the chains of those emotions that keep us in the familiar past. And
Man, that was good stuff.
I sat and watched this whole video, and I watched it, and then on YouTube I went down the rabbit hole. But let me tell you, I enjoyed the fall, because this whole week has just been mind blowing for me after I watched this video, and I watched a couple other people, and Dr. Huberman and Mate, and a couple other learned people, and they all discussed these main concepts of having to be aware of what your thoughts are thinking and what direction they're going, and redirecting them, and consciously thinking proper thoughts, and trying to put that feeling behind those thoughts as well. It's been fantastic. And so I've been trying to put these thoughts into practice this week, and I've had a fantastic week. It's just been great. It's been amazing, and it's not easy, but I do find myself thinking thoughts and old reactions and old habits and old stuff like that I've did for 50 plus years of my life, and then being conscious of them and stopping myself and redirecting and taking a few minutes just to redirect my thoughts and redirect my feelings. And it's been amazing. It has really been amazing.
Yeah, I could tell Judy's had a really consistent attitude and spirit about her. I mean, not just this week, but in general. And I love watching this stuff. It resonates so well. I love Dr. Dispenza. I woke up the other morning, and with this training I've been going through at work, man, I'm exhausted every day, because it's mental. I don't want to say age, but it is kind of one of those factors when you're being force-fed technology stuff all day long. It's just like,
Yep.
it's a hell of a workout. So I've been waking up at 4:30, and I'm tired, but it's okay. So all of this stuff that we're talking about, it's the most difficult thing to practice, but the simplest solution, if that makes sense, in my opinion. Because I talked about this last time. I think I can make myself go down a cliff of fuck-its really fast, and I'm really conscious of that now. It doesn't come on as strong as it used to. I can tell a marked difference in the last 6 or 7 months too, which is nice. But what's been refreshing is I wake up in the morning, 4:30, my alarm goes off, and I just lay there for a minute, and I just put a smile on my face, and man, you can feel like your body follows that. I put a smile on, and what I really love is I try to practice this a lot too. So I practice some quick gratitude. Like what he said is, a lot of people wait for a profound change, or I'll do it when this happens. And one of the things, I know people are like, John, shut up, old man, give with your weird wisdom. But I do tell people, I'm like, look, if this, because I hear people complain about our office jobs and what we do. And if you stop and give yourself the perspective of, oh man, I love this analogy. It's hot and humid outside. I saw it driving to work the other day. There's guys up on a flat roof putting down tar. I think that tar is like 150 fucking degrees. It's like a medium rare steak up there. And those guys have a different perspective too. I bet they're like, I wish I had one of those climate controlled office jobs.
Right.
If you can change yourself and give yourself that gratitude, but my most dramatic one that I keep in my holster of John wisdom is, if your doctor came to you right now and said, hey, you've got stage 4 cancer. You're gonna die in a year. Everything that you're fucking worrying about right now, you would immediately go, I can't believe I've been wasting my fucking time on that garbage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're just instant switch, like, oh, okay. Or if you're given, that was drastic. I don't want to be a downer, but if it's like,
but it makes sense though. I mean, it's pretty prevalent. It's that prevalent.
Yeah, it's like last week. The question was, "What is life here to teach me?" Another version of that is, "What happens if life isn't happening to me, but it is happening for me?"
Yeah,
for what reason would this be happening to me? And then hedge that with, for what higher purpose is this happening to me?
Yeah,
Yeah. What is this lesson teaching me?
Yep. So, and what was important about the work stuff too, I want to also reflect on the side of I guess certain people would call it toxic positivity. It's not to overwrite oh, you're feeling blue about your job, just put a smile on. Think about the it's like the parents going there's children in China that would love to eat the food that you're getting right now, or you don't go up to that person and say well, the roofers slapping tar down would like to have a word with you about your job. It's meant to say we can hold both those feelings of gratitude and discomfort at the same time, right? I love my job right now, and some of the privilege that it comes with, being work from home where I'm at. But that doesn't mean I'm also have discomfort and frustration in certain areas. It's learning how to process and focus on those areas that you know how to control, right?
Yeah.
And I can wake up and be hey, you know what? At the end of the day, it was a bad day, but it was still a good day because, and here comes the gratitude. I was able to, my son finished his Lego build and he came and shared it with me. Maybe my wins weren't in my work today, and like I said, it was elsewhere. So you can hold both.
Oh, for
and
sure.
don't think that when we speak of gratitude here, it's not to override. It's just that when you have more abundance and gratitude, it seems to be Dr. Espinosa was talking about. It's you seem to have more of abundance, and if you create a larger resource of that emotional state, it's easier to reach with the tools and behaviors in that emotional state, right? So if you have a practice of bringing more gratitude, your immediate response is you have more options to respond positively, right? But if you are only acknowledging the crappy ones and your attitude is crappy, what are your responses going to be?
For sure.
Maladaptive, poor. So, but that doesn't mean, so you can respond to a shitty feeling positively.
You can.
You don't respond to it by doubling down on that feeling.
Yes.
It's
I'm
a lot
hearing-
about. Go ahead.
If I'm hearing you correctly, then what it sort of resonates with an analogy that I figured out with myself a while ago, and that is, if I'm not able to fully practice positivity, then at least I can try to practice not being negative.
Yes.
That's a start.
That's a start.
Yeah.
Because
Sure.
it's easy.
Yeah.
It takes practice. It takes a lot of rebuilding. It takes a lot of compartmentalization for me to wake up and to be able to smile. It's easier now, but just to sort of talk in a circle of what I'm trying to relate in a really bad way is that I was able to get to this stage by at least by being conscious of when I'm stepping off the cliff of negativity.
Raising the awareness.
Yeah,
and
I don't
then
have to go
abstaining.
Yeah,
you know,
full
that's
steam of woo! Look at
that's our first-
happy clown John, but it's just like, you know.
But you know what? It takes practice. But the more you practice at it, the more you work at it, the easier it becomes, the more natural it becomes, the more you want to go that direction instead of the other direction, the more you want to go up the cliff instead of off the cliff.
The mind is. I think I have a quote that all this talk reminds me a lot. Is the mind is a horrible master, but a wonderful servant.
Yeah.
Oh, I like that.
So,
I like that.
you know, like, and it's exactly like you're saying, Judy. You practice and build your little toolkits, right? We talk about this, like, you know, if you don't know what a positive response is, then abstaining from the negative is the first step. You know, sucking at something is the first step to getting good at something, right?
Yeah.
So if I can abstain from the negative, and then you build all your little teeny positive toolkits, they may not be super effective at first, but if you continue to invest in those, when you have
Little
a
happy
large,
trees.
yeah, when you get your little happy trees going,
Yeah.
you know, they're not much at first, but you know, when you get that garden into full bloom, oh man, that's like, you know, you instinctively reach for those now rather than like that one salty little piece, like to react with a certain way. Like now you have a plethora of positive ways to react to a certain item that's making you feel or process or anything like that. And it just kind of compounds on itself, you know, self-fulfilling prophecy.
Yeah.
Like he talks here, like, you know, if you're in a better mood, you're more apt to make. It's so crazy. You're the studies. I need to dig some of these up instead of just being like, I heard on the interwebs here. But when you are in a better mood, you're more apt to make better decisions around self-care, like, you know, better food choices, better sleeping habits, better exercise habits. When you're in that state of mind, and it's a loop.
There is a loop. There's also, it instills confidence and focus and mental energy. So it's not just, hey, look at me, I'm happy. There's a whole banquet of goodness that comes with being positive.
Cornucopia.
Yeah, you're building that the hard drive you want for your computer.
Yeah, nice, babe. You're gonna jump on the operating system analogies with us.
I'm gonna try, although I'm not very literate on them.
No, and you know, if I've done a ton of reflecting. Obviously, when I think back to when I was drinking, you know, like Dispenza says here, we created such a routine and a habit of.
Yes.
It all just constantly fell into the same place of wash, rinse, repeat, drunk, anxiety, depression, get drunk again, just like the fucking madness of it all. And then we would sit and we would watch self-help videos.
Man, the devil, you know, right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know any other way to feel, and I don't want to feel anything else, but I know how to get drunk.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I know how to quash whatever's going on, not pay attention to it.
Yeah. Hold on. I did a very apropos. I'm gonna do some self plugging here. I got two things I want to talk about real quick, Patrick. Let me go to the shorts. I'm going to share my browser. So one thing that I found out when I told Judy the other day, I said, I can make myself laugh now by watching myself laugh and thinking of the interactions that we have. And then Judy's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, whenever I need a quick pick-me-up, I just go in and I check out one of these shorts, and this is my favorite ones. So the one where I made Patrick laugh, and then the Thunder Cougar Falconberg.
Yeah, that was
Thunder
good.
Cougar Falconberg. You know, what I gotta do to get you in this? You know, I gotta challenge your manhood.
And then this is the latest one that we did. It just makes me chuckle.
There is nothing organized about that. My brain is like, well, fuck, we're fucking here.
Yeah.
Bottoms up, bitches.
I love watching that. Okay, but so I did the short that I posted this morning real quick, the apropos that I was talking about. Before sobriety, there were so many nights when I would make promises. I would swear on my grave. I could swear on a lie detector that I would do something for my wife, only to wake up the next morning and not do it at all.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was telling Judy that. I'm like, there was so many times that we would sit and be just pounding beer and drinking boxes of wine, and then be like, hey, tomorrow we're fucking taking the kayaks out, man. We're gonna do this, we're gonna do that. You know, it's like your brain is swimming in this dopamine release and alcohol soaked, and you could swear like, fuck yeah, man, we're gonna do this, and we're gonna stain the deck. Yeah, and then just, you want another glass of wine? We're feeling so good about our ambition and everything.
Let's have another glass of wine and really talk about this.
And we would always wake up in the let's talk about it some more. And we wake up, Patrick, and just fuck like 100%, 180 degrees the other way is like, no, not doing it.
Not feeling it.
Or I'd make promises to Judy about, yeah, I'll do that tomorrow. Yeah, I'll just not do it. And it feels so refreshing now. To where, you know, one thing I've struggled with myself a lot in the past is just having general self-control about things. Like, oh, can you not do this? Or, you know, I tell myself, don't do that tomorrow or whatever. The alcoholism is something that it was the controlling factor of a lot of that. I never had control over those guardrails, if you will. I do now, and it feels nice. Like, I know that this afternoon or tonight before bed, I could tell Judy something, and I will fucking have follow up and follow through with it tomorrow.
Yeah.
I mean, self-care, and those are like self-boundaries, right?
Yeah.
That's like learning how to validate yourself. Like, I care about my well-being enough that I will not stay up to 3 a.m. and, you know, be doing nothing and eating garbage. You know, I will get some rest, so I'm ready to face tomorrow. You know, and I mean, basic stuff like that.
It's nice to say, okay, well, let's go do this. All right, let's go do it. And getting up and going and doing it. It's fantastic. And not have to sit there and go, okay, well, when can we drink, or can we take any booze with us, or can we can we pack a cooler? Okay, yeah.
Right.
And when can we start drinking? Oh, well, not until we get here. Okay.
Right.
I was thinking about you on my run this morning when I was thinking about what kind of short I should do, and then I really wanted to give you some kudos and praise for being the father that you are. You know, I've known you for just over a year now, and Patrick, I've really watched you develop too. You're not the same person I met when you were walking by out on the sidewalk a year and a half ago or whatever. You're really a changed person. I can see you on this huge upswing of. You're not there yet. None of us are, but you've become much more serene with a lot of things. You're not so high strung, so I wanted to throw that compliment out there. I love you, man. You're a fantastic person.
Thank you.
And it's really great to have you in our lives. You really help us out with a lot of things too. But I was thinking that with all the shit that Judy and I did not do for each other when we were drunk, number one, I'm thankful that we're still together And I can't believe our relationship has gotten, well, I can, since we quit drinking, it just has like re-blossomed, and we've gotten to know each other again. But
It's way better now, because
Yeah.
now we can be honest with each other. We can't. Before, I don't think there was a lot of stuff that we would sweep under the rug, or we'd hide, or we'd mask.
we make convenient excuses.
Yes, but now we can be completely honest and open, and to be able to accept the criticism or accept the compliment at the, instead of blowing it off or getting upset or whatever. It's been really nice.
Yeah. I love you.
I love you too.
But what I was thinking was, with all the stuff that Judy and I could not do for each other, good for you for being able to raise children.
I mean, some days
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just trying, and that's all I get to show up with is just trying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would have, my daughter's story, we'll continue to talk about that later on, but I was never there for her, but it was a different situation. But
It was a military situation.
yeah, well, there was a lot of it that was my fault too. But, thank the heavens we didn't have that was going to come out wrong. If we were to have a child a few years ago or 10 years ago,
While
man,
we were still in our miasma.
I hope I would have had the fucking forewithal to figure out how to tone back or quit drinking then. I don't think I did. I don't think I would have, man. I really don't. We'd have some fucking 10-year-old right now in jail.
Well, to be honest, I kind of had an autopilot when I met my wife and, going into getting married. And then the kid thing, like, I don't want to say made it worse, but made it so it was easier to get to that place with drinking. Because, I mean, early childhood, like, I for those that were unexperienced, I'd like it, the last 3 months of pregnancy and the first 3 months of having a child, those 6 months is like, it doesn't matter how well you plan or even if you've had a kid before, like just the sheer logistics of how your life changes at that point is so, I guess, traumatic, for the lack of better words, because it happened so fast. I mean, and I don't use traumatic as like in a horrible scarring way. I mean, it's just like it changes, all the behaviors and all the underlying things. So a lot of people, like for me, like very early, like with kids, you just got to be around, just providing care, right? And you have to find a place mentally just to be available for somebody else's care. And so there's either downtimes or stuff like that. And like, I mean, I'll be honest, like there are nights like I would just drink and watch a movie. And I'm not saying like get blackout drunk. I saved that for either the party nights or anything like that. That was my calculus, right? Like, oh, I could sit down and I'll finish a IPA and a 6-pack, like, so yeah, that was part of the calculus too, was like, oh, I get started, I have a beer or two, watch the kids' movies or hang out with them and do something, and then I can drink later into the evening and then pass
After
out.
they've already gone to bed.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, but that's how it began. It was just so accessible, right? And there are some people out there that, like, you talk about like having the foresight or wherewithal to like pull back. That situation makes some people double down. Because there are we talk about behaviors and all these programs that have been written into us. Like becoming a parent was the weirdest fucking thing to me, because here, like, there are some things that I like hated about dealing with my dad with a fucking passion. And, stuff that you're like, it still resonates in my head about like, I remember 16 and being like, I will never fucking be like you. I will never do this. I will make sure, like, and then like it would lay dormant for 25 years. And here I am with my kid, and like out comes this thing out of my mouth of like, almost
your father
verbatim
comes
of
jumping out of your
my
mouth.
father comes jumping out of my mouth. And it's just like, as soon as it goes, you just like, and you're like, fuck. time for a beer. You know, I can't face that. That's fucking weird.
Yeah.
You know, like, because if you try to begin to like peel that back, you know, like that's a lot of fear. When it comes out of your mouth, you're like, you know, like, because you were so unaware of because of my unawareness, I was not paying attention to the steps that led me there or my emotional state. Now it came like a program.
Yeah.
And then when it finally dawns on you that it had passed, like the scary part is like, oh shit, it came out. I didn't expect it. You know, like I don't want to fucking be here in this like either self-hate portion or the fact that you have to go digging now. You know, some people will be like, don't want to peel that one back. So, I don't know. What I'm trying to say is like, life is life sometimes, you know. We're in a state where we're at now where we're very grateful for our sobriety, but, you know, there are some things, you know, like being a parent, getting married, death of a spouse or a loved one, like
Stressors.
You know, stressors that, you know, some people weren't invariably double down on that.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's how they deal with their stressors is they crack open another beer, or they have a bong hit, or they mask it. And so when you add more stressors onto that, well, you just mask it more, don't you?
Right.
You just cover it up right under the rug.
I did find it funny that you mentioned going to your shorts to make yourself laugh, and I had a little chuckle inside because I was like, one of my favorite sayings when I was drinking was like, you know, you'd find stuff misplaced or whatever the next day, or you know, this is kind of my dark humor joke. If I were to do something at work and I go back and I'm like, yeah, I know how to do it, I'll just go back to my notes, and I'm like, who's the guy that fucking took notes on this? You know? Yeah. Or, you know, you wake up the next day, you're like, pass me as an asshole.
Yeah.
Fuck that guy.
Oh,
you know,
God.
but
Yeah.
now you get, you know, like there is a definite humor side to it, but like, I mean, it's subtle over time where you're like, yeah, pass me. Yeah. Seriously, fuck that guy. But now you gotta be like, you know, you pass self making you laugh, and
Yeah.
like, it's awesome.
Yeah.
You know,
It is good that we've gotten to the point to where we can chuckle at our own dysfunctions in the past.
Yeah.
I do have to say that when I was high, I made some really weird stuff in the kitchen that I would never do when I'm sober.
Right.
I'm proud of all three of us. We're putting in a lot of work and having a fun time, and
Yeah. I really got to say I enjoy the Dr. Dispenza, the stuff that he's got out there. It's been very, very helpful. It's something my brain can grasp onto and go, okay, I can do this. This is good. This is a nice written out step 1, step 2, step 3, so my brain can grasp onto it. It's not I don't know if it's going to be that easy for everybody, but for me it's fantastic.
Get out there, find that modality when it speaks to you, you're ready to listen.
Yeah.
You hear it.
yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
It resonates.
You know, it hits hard, and that's what's the nice thing about like when you open yourself up to. It doesn't mean like everything comes flooding in. It just means, you know, you get to take what you need and leave the rest. So like all these lessons and teachers and everything that we have along the way, you know, we begin to cultivate our own experience to share with others and everything like that. So
Get to build our
For
own
sure.
garden.
Yeah.
we get to build our own garden.
Yep. Okay. I think we're gonna get ready to wrap it up here. This has been an amazing discussion. It feels so good. This is my own therapy.
It's been a good one.
What are you doing for the rest of the day?
I have a laundry party at home
Nice.
since I've been like on call at work. Like I said, all the self-care has been pushed off. I have a big session tomorrow where I have to be available on call because of our weekend work. You know what's going on. But after that, I have next week off. So like I said, today starts with the laundry party.
Nice.
You know, it's like one of those tasks are always like, I always hope that I will like approach it and be like, all right, I get to do this, and we talk about these concepts here, like putting yourself in this state of being where you're appreciative for everything. And don't get me wrong, like chores, some of the daily chores you get done, and you're like, oh yeah, that is nice. You open up your drawer and everything's nicely folded and it's there. And you're like,
Yes.
But there are still some things that I'm like, bro, just start folding. The rest will come.
Just start working on it one piece at a time.
Yeah, right?
One piece at a time.
Yeah.
I hear you. Well, we're gonna get some Firehouse subs. We got a craving. Sorry, Dad.
Yes.
I'm gonna get the pastrami. Oh my God, it's so good. But first, I need to. That storm last week, man, we woke up to. We got a tree that fell from the creek and just complete crushed a section of our fence.
Oh, no way.
Look,
Yeah.
talking you, Lee Summit.
It's like 2 trees, the whole tree uprooted. Just
Wow.
Yeah, so I need to fire up the chainsaw and go cut that off. Then bust out the angle grinder and the welder and see what kind of. It's not gonna be pretty. I'll fix it, but it'll be. I gotta get it.
it's not going to be pristine, but it'll work.
No, get that back up. Then we're gonna continue on. We started getting deep into Far Cry 6.
Oh. A lot of my friends are in Baldur's Gate 3 Final Drop. So like that's, and I've never gotten to do tabletop or any classic D&D growing up. So they've like turned me on to that. So I'm like dipping my toe in just a little bit on that. And it's so well done because it's like devoid of any modern gaming trash. No microtransactions, no DLC, no extra. Like it's just a game, complete and finished. They may expand it, but it's like everything's there.
I know.
And it's just pure nerdery based on, D&D mechanics and everything like that. And it's just, it's turn-based. You may not like that.
That's the problem. I was telling Judy, she's like, oh man, I don't know. I'll do some more. I'll show Judy some videos, but I got the FOMO right now because everyone is just like, Baldur's Gate 3 is the best game ever fucking created in the history of human beings. I'm like, but I hate turn-based games. I don't know what to do.
They do a good job with they make it is turn-based, but they make it interactive enough in the cutscenes that are all there, keep you entertained. And it's like, I don't know. They doubled down on going into the nerdery of like Dungeons and Dragons, like what makes it good.
Yeah.
Rather than trying to like appeal to the broader masses and everything like that, and making certain mechanics like easier or shorter to understand. They kept all the deep nerd stuff there good.
Yeah. They made it pretty accessible too with the most popular desktop version, Rules 5 or whatever, so people can get into it. And I've heard people just started playing this and they throw it down and go like start playing real Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, I got kind of thrown off. My friend's like, you've never played? Okay, I'll introduce you. And we get started. And, I played like a little on my own. He started getting into it. And then like started asking questions like, oh man, that container over there is suspicious. I don't think my power, I'm like, we're role playing this.
Yeah.
I'm like, I gotta get into it,
I just don't know. I just don't know if I can leave everything open to the roll of a dice. It just depends on what you roll on that dice. It's like, I worked so hard to get to this level. I could roll that dice and totally wipe out everything.
Well, there's mechanics where you get to add stats to things based on your character. So it's not that's called natural rolls, where you have to leave it only to the dice.
All right, we may check it out. Not today. I'm sure. I think someone just joined and they're like, what is this Sober Mind? Is this a gaming channel? It is not. Okay, we have the tree to tackle and Firehouse subs, and then we're just going to lounge about today.
Nice.
Enjoy your laundry.
Yep.
I would say thanks, but I'm just nodding along. Yep. Yep.
All right, Judith, we're going to wrap it up. Patrick, thank you so much. This has been amazing as always.
Thank you as well. It is.
Thank you as well, my love.
All right, let me figure out how to quit the music. Okay, let's roll our outro. Here we go. By popular demand, Kellen Francis.
If you or someone you know is struggling with mental health, please contact the Suicide and Crisis Hotline at 988. Also, if you need help with addiction recovery for yourself or someone you know, please check out Al-Anon. Be kind to yourself. Be patient with yourself. You are loved.
Thanks for listening. Check out the Sober Mind live stream at youtube.com/@sobermind.
All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in and listening to us. Be kind to yourselves.
Be
Kind of
patient
yourself.
with yourself.
Yeah, Judy just.
I was like,
she missed the line. Be patient. Fucking be patient. All right, be patient.
You are loved.
Practice gratitude. You are loved. All right, y'all. We'll see you next time. Bye.